Welcome to our class of intermediate 10. Today we are going to learn the quantifiers. Quantifiers that we can use are all, every, and most. We use all or all of the plus plural or uncountables. For example, we've eaten all the cake. In the case of all, we use when we are going to talk about in general. For example, all animals need food, and we use all of that when we are going to talk about in specific. For example, all the animals in the zoo look sad. In the case of in all of that, it's not necessary to put the word of. The second rule is we use everything and everybody plus singular verbs. For example, everything is ready for the party. In the case of everything, we use in things and everybody in people. For example, everything is expensive in this supermarket, and everybody wants to rule the world. The third rule is we use most to say the majority. For example, most of my friends live near me. The fourth rule is we use all or most of plus an object pronoun. For example, all of us speak English. Or in the case of most of the people in our class are men. The fifth rule is use every plus singular countable noun all of a group. For example, I work every Saturday. Another tip is we use every day. For example, every and all have a difference if we use in a day. For example, every day means that Monday to Sunday. But in the case of all the day, it means all the day, the 14 hours, the 44 hours, no, the 24 hours. That's all. In the second part of our class, we are going to talk about the quantifiers no, none, and any. The first rule is we use no plus a noun after a positive verb, or any plus noun after without a noun. For example, there's no milk. There we are use the verb. We are use the word no after a positive verb, that is the verb to be is. And another example is there isn't any milk. The second rule is we use none is short answers or with a positive verb to refer to zero quantity. You can also use none plus of plus pronoun noun. Our example is there any food? No, none. But none of us are hungry. The third rule is we use any and plus verb to mean it doesn't matter what, who, another. For example, come any weekend. Anyone can come. Now we are going to explain the quantifiers both, neither, and either. The first rule. We use a plus verb with both and neither. The verb is plural with both and either singular or plural with neither. For example, both Pierre and Marie Curie were scientists. Neither Pierre nor Marie was or were aware of the dangerous radiation. Marie Curie wanted to study either physics or mathematics. The next rule is when both refers to the subject of a clause. For example, she and her husband both won the Nobel Prizes. The next rule is we often use both, either or neither, plus of plus object pronoun. For example, us, them, and others, plus of plus the noun. Now, the example is, neither of them realized how dangerous radium was. Well, we are explaining all of these rules with examples of Pierre and Marie Curie, and that's all for the class of quantifiers. Thank you for your attention. Yeah. For intermediate 10, the second class is about the article. What is an article? Article is a word that used to clarify a noun as a specific or unspecific. The basic rules of the articles a, and, the, and also when we don't have to use any article is what I'm going to explain. First, we use a or an when you mention somebody or something for the first time, or say what or who something or somebody is. And we use the word the when it's clear who or what something or somebody is. For example, my neighbor has just bought a dog. Here we are use the article a because it's the first time we mentioned the dog, but the next we have to use the word the because now it's clear that we are talking about the dog of my neighbor. So the dog is an Alsatian. The next sentences is he got into the car and drove to the town hall. Here we use the word the because the person who listen to me know about the car and the town hall. So the second basic rule is when we don't have to use any article. So We don't use an article to speak in general with plural or uncountable nouns, or in phrases like at home, at work, go home, go to bed, go bed, next, last. For example, she doesn't like sports or video games. Or for example, I have to go at home. We don't have to use any article. Only we have to say at home. That's all. The second part is about the substitution articles. For the first rule is with words like prison, church, school, hospital, and university, for example, we don't have to use an article when you are thinking about the institution. And the normal purpose used it for. If you are just thinking about the building, you have to use a or the. So let's go to the examples. My father is in hospital. Why we don't have to use any article? Because we are talking about the hospital as an institution. But in the next sentences, they are building a new hospital in my town. We have to use the word a because we are thinking not about the institution, but about the building. Next, we was sent to prison for 2 years. Okay, here we are going about the prison as the institution of the prison. But my grandmother used to work in the prison because my grandmother used to work in the building. So we have to use that. Well, my grandmother worked as a cleaner. Well, that's all for this class. I hope it will be useful for you. Now, following the rules of the articles, in the case of geographical names, we don't normally use the word the with. Most continents, countries, regions that endings with names of a country or continent, except in some cases. For example, the Czech Republic, the United States, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and well, that's all, and the UK. For example, Algeria is in North Africa. So we know that Algeria is a country, and the region North Africa ending in a continent. More examples. For example, Bolivia is in South America. Bolivia is a country. South America is a region of the continent of America. We have more examples with Iceland, the States, Southeast Asia, Mongolia is in South Asia. Well, the next rule, we don't normally use the word the with roads, streets, parks, bridges, shops, and restaurants. For example, Selfridges is in Oxford Street. Selfridges is it's a supermarket in the UK, and we don't have to use the word that because Oxford Street is a street. The rule is that. The third rule, we don't normally use the word "the" with individual mountains and lakes. For example, the Lake Victoria and the Mount Kilimanjaro is in Africa. The Lake Victoria is a lake and Kilimanjaro is a mountain. And also, we have the first rule in these sentences because Africa is a continent, so we don't have the word "the." Now, we are going to talk about when we have to use the word "the." The rule is in case of mountain ranges, rivers, seas, canals, and deserts. For example, the river Danube flows into the Black Sea. The river Danube is a river and the Black Sea is a sea. The next rule is names of theaters, cinemas, hotels, galleries, and museums. For example, the National Gallery and the British Museum are London tourist attractions. Well, the National Gallery is a gallery and the British Museum is a museum, so it's obviously that we have to use the word "the." And that's all for our class. And